Peppermint liquor burns. Oh man, that does sound painful. I feel bad. Alright, so step 3. How to create a Roll20 listing and get the players to join your game instead of anyone else's game. In this example, we are saying that we are the Dungeon Master and that we are creating a listing, an open listing for other people to apply for and send in their applications. Now, something to note that as a GM, you have to do a lot less work in one way, in terms of the applications than the applicants do as players. On the other hand, you do have to GM, which is a lot of work in the first place. You will get, most likely, if we do this application correctly, a lot of applicants looking to join in. A lot of people who are actually trying to find a game and genuinely want to get in. And we'll have our pick of those people. We can decide the ones that we like, we can decide the ones that we don't like, and we don't want to play with the ones that seem like fuckheads, like Ian, or the nice people that you want to play games with, like that other guy who posted that nice thing about disabled people. So, step 1 here, to-do list, of course. It's all in the presentation. Indeed, Mr. Ghost. First thing we do is I'm gonna go to my games, or just we could have clicked to just my first game there as well, but fuck 'em, it's loading. I'm gonna click on my first game here. We are the creator of. You can come to this page here, and this is basically your settings page for this game on Roll20 as a whole. You can invite players. You can invite them manually. You can send them a share link, which you probably shouldn't have shared, but you can email them. You guys can join that game if you want to screenshot that and join in if you really want to. You can invite someone now like that. Basically takes you to invite players. You can join the game, which just takes you into the editor. You can say what kind of content is in there. If there's a journal, if there's a chat archive, you can go look at it. Looking for players, we'll get to in a second. We can create our listing here, which is how we're going to be able to do this. Then we have our settings, which are our game settings. We can even delete the game or copy the game to do the same one, or we can clear our chat archive. We can, in here, first of all, playing D&D-5e. That's the game we're going to be playing. We're going to change the name of it from my first game to Tomb of Horrors, because that's in the Volo's Guide to Monsters, right? We're playing Tomb of Horrors as D&D-5e. I'm going to click save that. How's it going, Smash Bros? Good to see you. What's this listing? Oh yeah, that's my 24-hour D&D stream, Roll20. So back here. We enter a description for our game. This is what the players see on their listing about our game. So we want to have some information about it. However, important to note, this is not our game listing. This is not where we tell our players, here is what you need to play in the game. Here is what I want you to apply. This is just information on the campaign itself on Tomb of Horrors. Okay. And this is where you can post new topic discussions with your players, but we don't need to worry about that right now. What we do need to worry about is just changing the title, having a cool image there. That's done, right? And click on looking for players and create listing. We've got all these things filled out. Alright, so this is just a tutorial, yeah, because if I actually made it and didn't do it, I'm probably breaking some kind of Roll20 like forum rule, because they're like really strict on their forum rules about this shit. So looking for group is a tool that allows you to list your game in our game directory where Roll20 players can find it and apply to join. It should only be used by game masters to list individual specific games that we played. If you're just looking for a group in general, try the forums or update your public profile to list yourself in the player directory, which we'll get to in a minute as well. Alright, yes. Click create listing for Tomb of Horrors. Okay. So, at the moment, the listing status of our game is not shown. So don't worry, once you click that button, it's not live on the internet for everyone to have a look at. So you don't have to have this information filled out straight away. Currently, what has happened is that only you can see it right now, and we get to choose our sharing settings. Hey Bomb, how's it going, buddy? The listing is not being shown to players because the next game time has not been set, has already passed, or is more than 3 months in the future. Update the game time on the game overview page in order to show listing. Okay, we don't need to do that right now. We'll go back and do that in a second. So, we don't need to, we're going to leave this as unknown for now. So, we have got some things to do here, gang. Frequency. This is where you say how often you intend to play your game. Are you playing once? Only one shot? Are you playing weekly, every other week, or once per month? Let's pick weekly, for instance. You could choose if it's a card game, a board game, or a role-playing game. To be honest, it's most likely a card game. Most likely a role-playing game. We need the total amount of players that we want to play with, including the GM. So, +1. We want 4 players. So we're going to save that information there. Okay. Do we want our players to join in with voice only, text only, video and voice? We'll say we're going for voice only. Primary language, English. Yep, unless you want anything else in there, but assuming English. New players are welcome. If they are, then tick that. If they are not, you don't want to play with new players, then untick it. Mature content. That's a decision for you to make as well about your game. About whether or not you're going to deal with 18+ issues. Maybe you're going to swear and stuff like that, although I'd suggest that swearing isn't really 18+, is it? But, you know, stuff like torture or lots of gore and blood, maybe 18+, you know, adult issues. Alright, pay to play is the next one. PGM is currently permitted without prior approval. When marking as listing as pay to play, Roll20 disclaimer will be added. Do you want your game to be pay to play? You can choose $20 a month via PayPal, for instance. You can add these all in, or you can do Roll20 subscription credit. Might be a safer way to do it. And you can choose whether or not. We are not going to have a pay to play game as ours, but if you are, then put in the information now. Blood spill, kill, hate, murder, maim, and mutilate. Yeah. Now, this here is where we put all of our information about the game. This is where we put it, my friends. About the Tomb of Horrors. We put what we want from the game, what we want from our players as well. I would suggest you can either put the information on applications here, or you can post a new topic named applications and then put the information about what they need to put in their applications there. A couple of things that you should put for players, in my opinion, to maximize your chances. And already you're doing well just by having a weekly game, which is a voicely, and you're looking for 5 players in Roll20. You're going to find some people who are applying. More so the issue, 45k a session for 1 hour a week. More so an issue I found is filtering out the people that you don't want to play with. Filtering out the what if you need dick pics? Then include dick pics in. Actually, don't, because you will be probably timed out or banned or deleted from Roll20. Like I say, I think they're pretty strident on their forum moderation last time I checked. So, yeah, a couple of things to put in. Information on your game. What you expect of the players in terms of them as role players and in terms of them turning up to games. How often do you want them to be there, and how strict on that are you going to be? That's one thing to note straight away. It's worth noting some rules as well. Things like if you don't turn up to 2 or 3 sessions in a row, then you're out of the game, for instance. Or we expect you to be on time at this place every single week. And that's what we expect of you. We expect of you to be, fairly well behaved, not aggressive towards other players. I mean, that stuff is pretty obvious, but I think it's worth putting just so you have it in writing to avoid too many dick bags. Because there are some dick bags on the internet, or so I hear. So that's some stuff. It's also worth putting information about a game to try and sell the free speech. To try and sell your game. Like, why is it exciting? Why do you want to get in the game? Why should someone be interested in your game? Talk about your experiences as well. Like, I'm a professional GM. I am a, experienced Dungeon Master, for instance. Or maybe I'm a newer Dungeon Master, and therefore I'm looking for newer players in particular. Be specific about what it is you want in your players. You could have anyone, anyone apply, but you filter out immediately the people that you don't want to play with by prescribing the things that you're looking for in players. So you say, I'm looking to run a highly intensive roleplay session, or I'm looking to do a lot of combat. Immediately, the people who don't want to do a lot of combat aren't going to be applying, and immediately the kind of people who will be wanting to do a lot of roleplay will be applying. You filter out the people that you don't want, and that's basically what this whole process is about. Very much like putting up a job ad. You just want to filter out the people that are not interesting to you, or you don't think would be good for the job, and you're looking for the people that you think will be. Thank you, Lauren. My wisdom is flowing at the moment. It's an odd term, isn't it? Anyway, so that's what you want to put in this information here. Also, of course, when you're going to be playing, when you're available, and if you are charging, then I would suggest putting information about how you're going to charge for that game, in what capacity they're going to do it, and maybe why they should as well. Because if you're doing that, then you're trying to sell a service, and as someone who's been trying to sell a service for a long time, then the best way to do that is to tell people why they the best way to make people think, the best way to, if you're applying for a game which is pay to play, is telling people why they might want to pay to play, right? If people have no understanding of why they would ever do that thing, they're never going to do it, right? So when someone asks, why would I subscribe to your Twitch channel? Well, we say, oh, you get, these emotes, you sell your soul to Twitch, you support the channel, that kind of stuff. Like, oh, okay, yes, I want to do those things. All right, for instance, or, why do I need this new car, sir? The car salesman tells you before you ask because he's a salesman. So, anyway, that is the information we're going to put there. We'd also post a topic with our information for applicants. So let's go here, and, this is applications. What do we want from our applicants? Let's make this a little bit bigger because it's fucking tiny. Well, applications here. So you can either put the application information there, and they can all post new topics for each of them, or you can just add it in the thread there and do it like that. I saw myself a year ago. Pay for this game because I didn't have a job and I gotta eat. Exactly. That's a real hard sell. So in the applications, we're going to put some of the things that Yana put in her example, and some different ones, and some of them I'm going to take away that she put as well. So, you want to know some basic information about the people, about the person who is applying. You probably do want to know their age. It's not like a factor as to whether or not you're going to play with them or not, right? But if they are 12 or 13 and you've got mature content in the game, then you probably want to know before you go any further what kind of age they are, It's not ageist, it's just worth knowing a little bit about that person. Their name as well is important, or at least their online handle. You want to ask stuff like that. You want to ask them in your application, are you available at the prescribed time which you have listed here, which we will list in a moment. Very important that they say yes. Tell me about it, Ghost. It's very important that you do that because if they say no, then you can immediately discount them and say, right, can't make it, bye. And that's the attitude that you should take, in my opinion, because you'll have a lot of applications to go through. So, you do that, you say, what are you available at this time? Do you have a microphone and webcam? Or do you have a microphone? What quality is it? Tell me the model of your microphone. If they say, don't know really, then fuck them. If they don't have a webcam and you're looking for a game that has a webcam, fuck them. Do you need them to use any services? I don't know, do you have the ability to use Roll20? Maybe you need that in your game. If yes, put it. If they say no, fuck them. That's not the player that you're looking for, right? And like I say, there's so many players to choose from that you really can be quite prescriptive and all of this stuff. Ask them as well, the questions that Jan asked. Maybe not what's your least favourite things about a game, but maybe in a more positive light. What is your favourite thing about role-playing games? Maybe ask the question, what kind of D&D player are you? Ask a question something like, what kind of experience are you looking for as a player? If they say, I'm looking for a really meta-heavy, combat-heavy game, and you've done and you're looking for a really role-play-heavy game, which you've listed in your application above, then you can discount that person. They're not the kind of person that you're looking for in this game necessarily. Might be a fantastic player and person in a million different ways, but not the person for this particular job. So you want to make sure that you ask them about themselves, about what they are looking for as well. When in doubt, fuck them. Exactly. It's rule number one. So also ask them about a character that they might be applying with, because that can tell you a lot about the kind of player that they are. if like, oh, I want to play this this homebrew racing class. It's from the D&D wiki. It's called the Dragon Rider, coming later in like an hour's time. Fuck me. Then you're like, oh goodness, honey, 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 no, you know. Or I like to play characters that are like always steal from the party and are like real evil and are like loners. Then you're like, okay, fuck 'em, you know. I would like to play Goblin Banana Farmer. That's an instant invite, you know. It's on the other hand, so you know, ask them about what kind of character they might apply to, and of course, if you are charging them for this, worth asking them, you know, if they are willing to do that in case for some reason they've missed your disclaimer. And so, if you are doing this in a more professional way, that you don't get people who are just trying to not pay, I guess. I don't know. There's probably something in that. Also set a time limit on when you need the applications for. Like, I need these within a week. Also put something like if you do not fill out all of the questions that I have asked, then I will not read it. You know, then you are discounted, because then that saves you the whatever there was, the Chris's of the world who just write like, I don't know really, and you have to read it, which is like just a waste of your air. So sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to be that reader behind, but you know, there is a limited amount of time in this universe, and sometimes I think I can't be wasting it. So those are the kind of things you want to put in that topic there. You can also put a questions topic as well. Like, do you have questions about the game for me? You can often learn about people a lot based on the questions that they ask you about your game. Like, would it be cool if I like played a neutral evil Bahamut space dragon man? Like, would that be cool? Chris was in a previous forum thread who did a really bad application. Then you'd be like, all right, buddy, you know, like, or they could be like, so how do you guys feel about, I don't know, you know, there's a bunch of things that could just throw up red flags that people may ask you in questions. They may accuse you of being ableist if you're like kind of Ian. But yeah, those are the things. And the, let's like save the changes to list real quick. And we'll go back here to our games details page. We'll open a new tab. The next game will be at this time and that place. And that will then tell you when the game will be, and will list the status in the Roll20 game thingy. You can say, I'm playing 2 weeks from now at 9 p.m, right? And when you save that, that will then activate your listing in the Roll20 forums, and will allow people to do that. So that's why I suggest that's the last thing that you should do in case people come to your post and they see that nothing is there because you're still waiting to add in information. So don't set your next game time until later on, and make sure that when you do save it, you've got all the information ready and presentable for people to come to. A couple of images and graphics are always a nice addition as well. And again, like, ham up why people should join your game. Why should they be bothered, you know? I identify as an old flake. So those are the ways in my mind that you can maximize your listing. And we won't go through it now because I think, again, like, Roll20 would be annoyed with me if I made a listing and then just deleted it with people. But yeah, that's how you do that. And do anyone have any questions about the listings or about anything else that I've talked about? We'll wait for 30 seconds here to let the Twitch chat catch up if anyone does have any questions on that. And I'll be right back. I'll be just 20 seconds while you guys ask questions. And I'm back. At some point I want to play as a young wizard who is only adventuring because he has student debts he has to pay. I like that. How about a basic human wizard? Let's see, I'm not muted. Basic human wizard fresh from the academy. Neutrally evil but plays with the group, choose him as tools to further his own gaining in might, power, and wealth. Also, good idea. Pitch it. But yes, that is the way to maximize your chance as listing. One other thing that I want to take a look at real quick here is in our, let's see, games player directory. So games player directory is another way to list yourself. So this is the, I guess, step 4. If you are not looking specifically for a game, for like a game at a certain time, but maybe you're looking for a group of people, and your maybe time is flexible, and you're just looking to find the sort of right people, I suppose, then you can list yourself as a player. Yes, I do. In fact, Gilly Sparks, there will be an announcement about my plans to play Tomb of Annihilation tomorrow, and you should keep an eye on the Wizards of the Coast account for that tomorrow, and there may well be some news about that I've been keeping under my little hat. Anyway, so this is the player directory. Player directory is a listing of players who are seeking to join games. You reach this by going games at the top and then player directory, by the way. If you're looking to get a new game going, or if you'd like to add a player or two to your existing game, you can search through listings to find players to invite. Click on the name of a player to view more about them, and if you're interested in having a player join you, send them a private message from their profile page inviting them to join your game. So we're looking for players to join in our D&D 5e game, for example. Oh man. That is true, Shalom, very true. Mr. Chris, what was C. Chris Perkins, yes. But I can't say any more at the moment because of ye olde NDAs. But yeah, things are exciting, very excited. Find players. That's what we're going to do. In this tab, it basically says what kind of games you want to find. Find players. All right, then we are given a list of all the myriads, of players who are looking for games. And you can see, oops, didn't want to do that. Don't want to click on you, Jason, sorry. Sorry, Jason. You can see exactly what games they're looking for, and you can read their bio as well. So if you're going to do a player listing, I believe pretty much everyone is listed in the player listings, then you need to fill out your profile, your bio, as we looked at before, as on my profile, and in bio, you change that. And then you can see that Frank is an avid role player for more than 35 years. He's playing mostly at GMT plus 1 time zone, but also quite regularly at times accommodating to EST time zone. It's equivalent just a tip. Oh yeah, all about it around here. So you can see, like, okay, Jason seems like a good guy. You can read more about him as we learnt. You can see his profile on here. He's just another avid gamer looking for friends. He's got all of these hours played. You know, he looks like he's pretty experienced, and you can then send him a private message and say, "Hey, Jason, we've got this game going at the moment. We're looking for a replacement player based on what you've said in your listing. It seems like you would be a perfect player for our game, you know." And you can invite people via private message to that. And you can pretty much fill the people out again, you know, like you got to pick of them. You're just looking for people who wanting to play Song of Ice and Fire role playing system, the Game of Thrones game by Green Ronin. Then Roll20 loads because there are a lot of players to load in. There we go. You can see only the people who are looking for a Song of Ice and Fire role-playing game, which is included in there. Worth noting that it doesn't mean that they are only looking for that game, and the best way to maximize your chances to be listed in the player directory and to get private message by someone is to go to your bio. We'll open this in a new tab. Go to your bio and list several of them. And you want to actively... So you got enjoys playing it here, that's great. Then you want to actively seeking for in here, and that's how you say, now I'm listed in the Song of Ice and Fire, now I'm listed in Call of Cthulhu. I don't want to be actively seeking a group for them though, personally, so I'm going to remove these. But you can do that, and you can put in pretty much every game if you want, and that's a lot of options, and increases your chances of finding people. Yeah, it's personal ads for gamers, exactly. So yeah, it's really good. You know, there's a ton of people you can find through. There are 4 tabs of people who are looking for Song of Ice and Fire role-playing games. So not as many as, for instance, there is with D&D 5e. But you know, if you're playing more fringe games, you're gonna find less people interested in playing them. But you may end up in this method as a person who already has an existing group of people looking to add players in. You should either create a listing for it in the games section which we talked about previously, or search on here if you don't want to go through that process of creating applications and how to read for applications to people, and privately message a bunch of people. And again, this method is more so you do the recruiting and do the filtering yourself, whereas the Find Game system is a bit more sort of you can filter people out very easily because they just apply. And sometimes they filter themselves out before even applying as well. So, good way to do it is just message a bunch of people on here. And, you know, again, maximize your odds. Message more than just 2 people, you know, like do 10 of them and then turn some of them down when the others have already filled in their spot. And maybe you want to do a more involved process of application where it's like you come and we do a quick voice call, or we text privately over chat to or email or something like that to confirm that that's the kind of person that you want to play with. Of course, once you have done all of this, once you have found your players and they've applied, you begin to filter out those that you don't want, the ones that you do want, and you can. One last thing about the website, I think. You can filter out those that you want and those that you don't want, and then you can move on to actually doing the game itself, which is, of course, another topic entirely. But and you can do those kind of interviews if you do wish to, and that's completely up to you, of course. One thing I might suggest is like doing like a test game before you like commit to a long-term thing. So saying, right, we're gonna do a test game, guys. No one's like confirmed to be in for the next 6 months, but if this game goes well, then you'll be invited back, that kind of thing. That's a pretty standard rule with new people at tables. Like, you don't want to have to commit to playing with someone that just doesn't work with you for whatever reason. And sometimes that just happens, you know. Sometimes it just so happens that you find people that you don't want to play games with. And the best thing to do with that is just to be honest with them and say, like, listen, man, it didn't work out, you know, sorry, but best of luck to you to finding another game in the future. And as with almost all of these things in role-playing games, it's just about communication. Being honest with people, telling them what you expect, asking them what they expect, seeing if those things match up, and then taking the process on from there. Make sure when you do apply that you're able to go through with it as well. Nothing more annoying than someone applying to something which they are not qualified to do but haven't told you about it. Which I know. So, yeah. Let me see. What the fuck, guys? For a pet rock? Oh, it's like anagrams. I love a pet orc. A pet orc would be a little bit dangerous, wouldn't he? But it depends, though. If he's like a baby orc. Although it would be quite messy to have around a house as a pet. One other listing that we can go look at is D&D Beyond. Yay! Which we're going to be taking a more fully fledged look at in a couple of minutes here as we go into our next session of the stream. Do you want to delve into parting ways with players? We can talk about that for a bit, yeah. Just my own personal dream in my mind bars. One quick thing to note is if you go into the forums of D&D Beyond, if they still exist, there should be a looking for game somewhere. Is that gone? Well, looking for game and players groups. I just scrolled past it. There is a forum here that you can go to in D&D Beyond, and you can post in that as well. I'd say the Roll20 system is probably a little bit more sort of organized, but if you're just looking to maximize your odds, you can go to Reddit looking for game as well, and you can go to the D&D Beyond looking for game, and that should work too. But we'll take a more full look at Beyond in a little bit, and that will be the last time that we look at Beyond for a while. Give us money for stuff you already purchased. Yeah. Well. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, let's talk briefly about parting ways with players. Pay us for stuff you can get Better for free elsewhere. All right, we'll get to it in a bit. We'll get to it in a bit, I promise. Be careful beyond for people just spamming looking for games. Yeah, that probably happens, right? I guess there are moderators that maybe help that stuff out. I don't know. But yeah, forum spaces can be a little bit dodgy. But yeah, more like D&D be gone. Am I right, chat? Got him. Yeah, so let's talk about applying ways to players a little bit, and with the application process, how to like turn people down. Best way to turn someone down from an application is either to not contact them about the application, and the listing just goes off and only to contact the people who got it. Or if you're feeling like going through 50 applications and telling them exactly why you didn't get the role or something like that, you can do that. Although that may be more of a dangerous way of doing that. Because in my experience, some people are really, really interested. They're like, no, I need to know. Like, I need to know why I didn't get it. Please tell me. I want to know exactly why. I'm super open to criticism. I'm super open to critical feedback. Just give it to me. Like, I want it. I need it. I'm like, oh, well, if you insist. And then you're honest with someone. And they're like... That's the exact noise that they make, in case you're wondering. Ignore them and complain about nobody applying. Yeah, that's it. But if you have a set of applicants that you want, contact the applicants that you're particularly interested in. If some of those come back and you're not like, go down to the next tier of players that you had in your maybes and then contact them privately and talk to them about it. Those that didn't make it and you didn't want to play with them, you can either say, you can put a forum post and say, sorry guys, this is why today, this game wasn't your game. Today wasn't your day. Here in the future are some ways when you apply to my games in the future to maximize your chances, right? So this is something I do, or I have done in the past, saying, sorry man, like this isn't for you at the moment, but here's a way to improve your chances next time. You said in your application this. I find that this was not like what I was asking for or looking for, or, something as simple as schedules didn't work out or something like that. That's really easy to do, in my opinion. Just tell people on the internet no. It's something I do constantly on Live Jasmine, so it really comes quite naturally to me. Who am I getting? It's always a yes. But posting something on a foot, in the, let me just go back here, in your listing, which is like a sort of just a post topic, and say, this is why our applications are closed. We have the players added that we need, and just explain why they got it, and what people can do in the future, and that there'll be another chance maybe, or that you're just generally like a little bit sorry that they didn't get it and that it didn't work out this time, and say it's nothing personal, this is just what I was looking for this time around, and that you hope that you find good games in the future. Something that's more difficult to do, however, is to actually like cut off from someone that maybe you have accepted to your application and then decided or realized was not the right person for your game. Fat Not Will is now live. Yeah, fucking notification goes up. I like a furry loincloth myself. I can only concur. That's a section of my stream as well. But yes, something that's more difficult is like you've got them in maybe for a test game. Let's go to a scenario that you said, all right, dude, you're in for the game, and maybe it's a test game, in which case good stuff. Or maybe you've said that they're in the game and it's the weekly game, and you're like, great, this got my new set of players, so many applications on Roll20, like holy mackerel, like, and now I've chosen the best from these applications. Problem that you have if you've just gone on text and you haven't gone to gone on a voice call with someone, is often with these applications, people are looking to maximize their chances, and so sometimes they'll just say what the person wants to hear, and you realize that people aren't always the exact way that they say in their applications and resumes. There was some statistic I saw of like X amount of people lie in their resumes. It was like, I don't know how much it was, but it was a surprising amount of stuff. And with something like looking for game for, I think people are more willing to lie in their applications about stuff. So it doesn't mean guaranteed success, right? Just having people in your game doesn't mean guaranteed success, but it can mean that you run into someone that you maybe don't want to play with. So the scenario is, you've done the game, you got the people in, you played a session with them,